let's see. Yes, it's recording. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. This is the Carl Experience Season 3 episode. I don't give a damn right now. This is entitled Interview with Shay, because that's who the guest is. We're going to be doing an interview on this and seeing how much we can get through or what answers we can come up with. Okay, now I've got to turn a little bit here. Okay. What is your name?
Sure.
You don't have to give the whole thing.
Well, I go by Shay, so.
Alright. What is your sex?
Female.
What is your gender?
Female. She. Her.
Okay. Gender identity.
I'm basically female, but sometimes I don't really care what people call me, if that makes any sense. I'm just attracted to females, if that makes any sense. I don't know exactly what to call it.
Most of us would call that lesbian. But...
Yes.
Okay, what's your sexuality?
Lesbian. Okay.
What led to you being lesbian?
I dated guys for a while. I didn't feel that connection with them, you know?
Uh-huh.
It just never got to, like, I would kiss them, hold hands with them, but I never felt the connection that most people usually get. And then with a female, it
works?
Yes.
Okay, and the reason I word it that way is because I've literally listened to plenty of podcasts where people ask how they found out that they were lesbian, gay, whatever. I feel that they lead into it the wrong way. Like with your dad's podcast, your answer made more sense than his question of it. It's like, well, why are you? No, I'm not asking why you are. It's how you got there. The journey was more important than you actually being.
That's how he asked me the first time when I first came out. He's like, why are you? I'm just like...
why are you straight? And by the way, I loved that whole answer when he was asking the wrong questions, and then you were firing back with all that passion. That actually is what got me into the mindset that I can actually interview you, is because you're not answering it the way with the way the question was framed. It's a little ridiculous. I go after the how. As opposed to just, well, you're gay. How did you get to gay? Or when did you decide to become gay? It's like that for quite a bit. Considering how long I've been an advocate, it's not... The people who do actually tell you they chose, okay, number one, I scratch you off the list of members of the community, because if you chose to be that way, bye. Automatically discredits you, in my opinion.
Yeah, some of my family think I just chose to be this way, and I told them I didn't. It's how I felt.
Well, in my opinion, I've said this more than once on this podcast. Self-discovery is never changing. Mm-hmm. You might discover that you have changing phases.
I was bi at one point. Which was, just trying to figure out who I was more attracted to.
Yeah, you were exploring your sexuality.
Mm-hmm. And then I finally came out as lesbian in 2017.
Uh-huh. Well, that's the whole point. Is it's not why you are that way. Mm-hmm. It's what led to it. Mm-hmm. I feel and that's what a lot of interviewers miss that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many interviews you've seen with LGBT people, but...
I don't usually watch interviews. I just heard about this podcast recently, so I...
Yeah, apparently he thought that asking you questions would help you set up for the questions I'm going to be asking, but that may not be the case. I asked some really pointed questions.
Yeah, his questions were, I don't know, explain. Like, they were easier to understand, but at the same time, you're just like, I don't know. Mine made more sense. I had more. I don't know. I felt like I had more passion than he did about anything.
It kind of sounded like it. There was at least one or two questions where your passion really, really pushed through, and completely. He was just in the background. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like, dude, get off autopilot. Okay, that's why I said the context and how the questions are said sometimes is more important than the question. Okay, your relationship status.
Taken.
Okay, see, that was simple, wasn't it? Have a really long answer to the third question, and then give a really a really short answer for the fifth question, but give a really long one for the fourth. We're okay. Sometimes we just end up that way. Okay, now for a little more hardcore stuff. Your views on the attacks on the LGBT community by religious and political organizations, i.e., Chick-fil-A's founder and their principals, various other political organizations.
I mean, I've heard of what Chick-fil-A is doing. Like, supposedly they're not going to serve to LGBT people, or not going to.
No, they contribute money to anti-LGBT.
That's what I was thinking of.
Organizations.
Somebody told me that they're not even hiring LGBT. If they find out you're LGBT, they just fire you or something.
My question is why are they being so picky about a fucking chicken sandwich? I've tried their chicken sandwich. It's not that good. My wife makes better chicken sandwiches at home.
I never ate there. As soon as
I've eaten there once, and it's overpriced.
Yeah,
other people watching this may love Chick-fil-A. I could eat better at home with my wife cooking.
I like Taco Bell myself, so.
Okay, and like I said, even the political ones, because they are certain political organizations are attacking the LGBT umbrellaed community. And what do you think about that?
I just don't understand when we're so close of getting our, equality, and all of a sudden they're just starting to come back at us again. Like, what's the big deal? We're just people just like you guys. Like, get over it. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to keep fighting for our rights. So, just... Okay. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. Like...
I get what you're saying.
I don't really pay... I mean, I pay attention to the attacks, but I try to ignore it because, we're going to override it all anyway one of these days. Like, hate is just hate.
By the time... You're how old now?
I'm 21.
21. By the time you hit 40, none of this crap will be relevant. This podcast will only be wanting to be relevant in 20 years because society will have changed. Uh-huh. Most of the baby boomers will be dead that are instigating a lot of this
hate,
narcissistic rage towards people that aren't like them.
Mm-hmm. I was raised in a Christian family, so, and when I first came out, I was scared to come out. I was scared to come out to my mom because I didn't know what she was going to think. Because she's Pentecostal, like Holy Roller Pentecostal, like. Yeah,
I've heard the horror stories. I have heard the stories, none of which we will list right now.
But yeah, when I first came out to her, she acted like all the other Christians and just kicked me out of the house.
Yeah, did the whole Jim Carrey thing. Yeah, I get that. Apparently my own oldest child, when she came out as not being straight, she expected me to throw some big ass fit to act like some jabroni, toxic, masculine jackass. I'm like, okay, you're not straight, and? Well, you're not mad? My job as your parent is to love you. My personal opinions don't really come into it because I'm not you. You have your life to live.
My mom didn't understand that at first. She's just like, maybe I could pray it out of you. Maybe I could pray it out of you. It's a demon. Then she literally took me to a church and tried to get me to get it prayed out of.
Hence why I was asking about the political and religious, because there are politicians who send their gay children to conversion therapy, church-based, mind you, and their kids spend... I've heard of a kid was at one of these camps for 10 damn years and came out, and when they came out of the camp, I believe it was a guy, he said he was cured less than 2 years later, he got caught on video
With a guy.
with a male stripper that he paid to touch him. It's like, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away
with
too
simple
far.
prayer. Now, one of the odd things that people don't recall, people use the Bible and all the time to mitigate traditional family roles.
Man should not live with women, women should not live with man, which was very...
And it's Old Testament, which...
It is Old Testament, and there's some people out there who think that it was mistranslated.
Yeah, well, if you go back and watch the interview, my very first interview, you will find out that my niece espouses the same thing. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I actually went ahead and did a little bit of the research, and some of the top religious theologians about the verse on man shall not sleep with another man, that kind of crap, they're affirming right now that there is a mistranslation. The words are being taken out of context, but with televangelists, they will cherry pick the fuck out of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it does not matter. They will cherry pick it to match what they want you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But since I don't have to worry about watching televangelists a lot, I don't pay attention to certain things. I'm just weird like that. But with this onset of religious persecution, I mean, where do you feel that needs to be? Other than abolished, mind you. I mean,
it's their opinion. They should just really keep it. Don't judge people. Like, you can be judged yourself. Like, how would you feel if somebody came up to you and started judging you for your beliefs and the way you act?
And Christians will tell you that they've been judged since Christianity formed, which they have, but they've also brutally tortured other religions.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm not just laying smack on Christians.
I'm a Christian myself.
Almost every religion except for,
Ow.
unless I'm completely off my rocker and I'm wrong, the only religion not guilty of committing atrocities of any kind would have to be the Mormons.
I've been to a church, though, where they have accepted it. It was like a Catholic kind of church. I don't know how to explain it. When they do prayer and stuff, they light candles in the front.
So they're Catholic or Jewish?
They say they call themselves Catholic, and
yeah,
the priest is like dressed in this like suit kind of thing. I don't know what it's called. It's like she had a rainbow for the community, but it was like one of those.
So she had like a rainbow lapels.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. Believe me,
I went to a church like that.
I looked some
and
weird
I was
crap
like,
up.
They support us here?
Yeah, there's a church downtown that's LGBT based, right?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't been to church in a long time. I mean, I'm Christian,
No,
but
the pastor is a lesbian.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Jackie Carter. Look it up. Trust me. They're trying with the new discrimination. You've heard of the new discrimination bill they're trying to get passed here? Okay. Just as a quick recap here, the city is proposing to try to pass an anti-discrimination bill which forbids people from discriminating based on race, age, sexual orientation, LGBT stuff, plus all the other stuff anyway. A lot of religious factions and a lot of religious-based people are like, well, we live our faith. You don't live in church. You shouldn't be able to discriminate based on what you believe. If you're going to claim you're a religious organization, then you need to do so. If you're not being church-based, well then no, you shouldn't be claiming that. That's only my feel on it, but yeah, I know we went off on a rioting tangent on that one, but yeah, there is a gay church or an LGBTQ whatever church downtown. And in case you want to tell your dad and mom to go there, your mom probably won't be that comfortable because men and women and men hold hands, and they do kiss publicly.
My mom.
They're not like making out with tongue slopping all over the place, but
my mom, she wants to learn more about the community and stuff, and I'm trying to show her and teach her, but it's hard for me to just do it, like, because I don't know a lot of things.
Take her to that church. I can, if I still have the pictures on my phone, I can send those pictures to Robert so you can see.
Because Mom's wanting to get to know my girlfriend and everything, and know ours.
Yeah, go to that church and go to that church. It got renamed since last time. Anyway, when I looked it up, the name of the church had actually changed. Go in there, and if you can, try to have a private conversation or even an open conversation with Pastor Jackie and your mom there. It will
probably enlighten. Probably enlighten Mom's view.
I was going to go one step above enlightened, but enlightenment is the ultimate goal. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. See, that was a whole 5-minute answer for a question that was not even 20 words long.
I don't know why, but I have a feeling that people are going to wonder if this is a rabbit or something that I'm holding. No, this is a dog.
It's a little tiny dog. There's going to be 1 or 2 viewers who are actually going to love that dog after seeing it. Okay. We're going to get a little harder now. Your thoughts on trans rights at current?
I have a lot of trans friends, so this is going to be...
This answer may take 20 minutes. That's okay. If the answer's long, trust me, we will be covering.
I mean, I have a trans friend. I mean, I've heard your view about it, where some people don't want to get the transition. Some people, like my friend, he wants to get the transition, but he can't afford it. Or his parents don't know. And people keep calling him her and everything else, and it's really hurting him because of his dysphoria. I mean, he's also young too. He's 15 maybe, or younger than that. He calls me like a parent to him because I'm 21, because his parents don't really accept in his family that he's pan and trans. If that makes any sense,
It kind of does.
His sexuality is pansexual, but his gender is... I don't know how to explain it.
No, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to most people, but I do understand the terminology. Oddly enough.
But there's a lot of people I know that are not even getting the surgery because they can't afford it and everything, and people are still judging them about it. And I'm just well, once you get the money, prove them wrong. I mean, you can't help how you feel up here. I mean, yes, they know you're a female, physically.
Sex-wise, you're one thing, and mentally or gender-wise, because most of the best psychologists on the planet will tell you sex is in between your legs, gender is between your ears. And I can't discount that. I have met people who are wired like a female but have a male body. I understand that. It doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense, but... And to clarify a position, let's see if I can keep the thought in my head long enough, because my head's racing through 3 different questions right now. Oh, God. Yeah, I know my brain thinks insanely fast on certain things. Now I'm just trying to unjumble it. The people who want to go through the transition and can't pay for it, I get that. What really alarms me is the people who are like you. There's a guy right now who is considering himself a trans woman. He weighs almost 300 pounds. He looks like a goddamn Marine on steroids. He was on everything for about 6 months and then quit and said he was done transitioning. He is now a woman. You still look like a linebacker. You still have a penis. And you're still playing in a girl sport. They showed films of him, I think it's on a lacrosse team. He was normally in female lacrosse. You have 1-on-1s, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s for defensive purposes. This guy, I'm not going to call him a woman because he still has a penis and he still doesn't have boobs or anything. This guy looks like he's
So
from
he's
the
not
Marine
even
Corps.
trying.
No, he gave up trying. He stopped trying. He's going into this wall of like 9 girls, all college age, plows through them all. But he's a woman. We're supposed to gentrify him as if I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't think it's unreasonable for me not to either.
I understand that too, because there are some people out there that say they're transgender and they're just doing that to, either get attention or get with more women, because some women
I would think it would be to improve their own sports career, and I'm not for that. I get if you have a valid claim for being trans, I get that. You want surgery if you can't afford it, I get that. But a guy who's built like a jacked up bodybuilder, well, I want to go into a woman's sport because I don't know. You're trying to do something stupid. If you stop transitioning after 6 months, you're just trying to get into the female team.
It takes a long time to transition. I know a lot of people who's been on testosterone for, maybe a few years, and they still have to take it. You have to keep taking it. You don't stop. Like, it's different for women. You have to take hydrogen. What is that? It's an H word. Instead of testosterone, it's called something else. For a man to turn into a woman, it's like, it starts with an H.
No, for men to turn into women, they have to take estrogen.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. It sounded like an H to me.
And women typically have to take testosterone to become men. Okay, let's see where my brain is now. Okay. Speaking of trans rights, we all are human.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are not created equally mentally. I'm not saying we all don't deserve the same rights. I'm not saying that at all. But some of us don't know how to exercise those rights. Now, I have noticed that there's this movement that's been an undercurrent for a couple of years of trans people wanting apparently what they're calling the exact same rights. Like they want all the same freedoms that everybody else has. Okay, most of my questions are about how aren't you getting the same rights? Well, we want the same marriage rights. I want to be identified as a woman or a man. Okay, I get the fact that you want to be identified as such, but have you gone through the proper stuff? Like most people, when they start going through the change, they have to go through a therapist. You cannot get a sex change without going through a therapist, and the therapist usually has to give you 2 years of therapy before you're ready. Before anybody will even touch you, even where is it? Sweden or Amsterdam or wherever, where they do it hella cheap. You still have to take counseling for 2 years before they will touch you with a scalpel. So, how do you feel about all of that?
I mean, that's pretty fair, to be honest, because 2 years they can actually get to know the person and actually figure out if they're actually transgender or not. I mean, I'm not saying anybody knows if they're transgender or not. I'm not saying that at all if you're transgender. But I'm just saying that is a good idea, because what if one day you to go through the transition, but then all of a sudden you don't feel trans anymore? Like, you did all that for nothing.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Like, I know somebody who went through a change and they figured out they were actually supposed to be male. They changed to female. They couldn't go back.
Yeah, the sex reversal only works one way.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's changed, there's no way to change back, and I've heard about that too. So
yeah, it happens. So be careful. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Just be careful. Go through your counseling. Go through the steps. There are specific steps you're supposed to go through. Don't rush it.
Yeah, and a lot of like a lot of teens who identify as the opposite sex from what they are, they're now like, well, I've literally heard of a few cases. I watch YouTube a bunch to figure some of this stuff out. there are quite a few cases where somebody thought they were gay or the other gender, switched genders, and then come to find out 5 or 10 years down the road when they're actually mature, well, I want my original sex back. Can't be done. You can't. You can get the surgery probably to fix the parts, but you can't ever reproduce.
Nope.
And there's I think 2 or 3 people who have like women who went and had preserved their eggs so that they could decide later on in life if they decided to switch back from being a man, they could still viably make children. I don't know how you're going to work that out with sperm, but as far as you can freeze them, but you're still the sad part is with egg and with sperm more in common. Freezing them, the longer they're frozen, the more likely they are to suffer from
not being able to
damage. Mm-hmm. They become more fragile and more susceptible to genetic defect, and that's one of those weird things. But yeah, I've heard of a trans couple. I watched a video on it just the other day. This trans couple is pissed off. They're both man and woman, and then they switched. So that they're woman and man, and now they want to be able to have their trans marriage, and they want to have all the legal protections. It's like, okay, but you guys literally met and then switched places, switched your sexual roles.
I don't know how that makes sense.
And you guys stayed together, and now you want to be married as a trans couple. You've already done the transition. This chick who used to be this person who used to be a chick's now a guy, and the guy is now a chick. I mean, why would you go through all that just to get a marriage license? Well, we want to be the first trans. If you're done transitioning, you're no longer trans.
You're the gender.
Yeah. Some people might not agree with that opinion, but I'm of the opinion if you go through the entire transition, you're no longer trans. You're trans before and during. Afterwards, you're no longer trans. I don't know. Can you tell it's an advocate position here? I know not all my opinions are going to be popular, but...
Everybody's going to want to see you. Just turn around this way. Because everybody's staring at your butt.
Well, there are worse things to stare at. Okay, now an even deeper question. I know we're going balls deep here, aren't we? Let's see, what minute are we on? 27, I think.
I don't have glasses, so...
Yeah, 27 minutes. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. There's a reason behind it. No, if I go for 33 minutes and then I don't do it, and then it shortens the videos, or if I stop it before it hits 33 minutes, it keeps the videos all at the same length. Fascinating, isn't it? Okay. No, you guys didn't miss anything. I was explaining to her why I had to stop and then restart the video, because I want my videos to be as long as they need to be. Instead of, if I do one straight recording for like an hour or so, it cuts down on the amount of time I can record. Where if I stop it right before and then restart it, I get another 33 minutes uninterrupted time. Yay, me!
I needed a drink.
Like I said, you can drink. I'm going to have to take a drink myself, damn. I do a lot of talking, especially for the podcast.
I'm a little nervous. That's why I have my dog in here, and my leg's been shaking. People can notice that. I do have ADHD, so that's also a thing. I just don't take medicine for it because it's not as bad as... I don't know how to explain it. It's like not as bad as people usually get, where you're just like not sitting still constantly.
Well,
I can sit still for a little bit.
The podcast I did yesterday, which is on YouTube now, it's also available on Anchor in case you don't want to watch the video. Both are an hour long. They cover autism, getting into ADHD, misdiagnosis. I have more than one podcast to do on autism.
I mean, I'm still learning about my girlfriend's mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She calls it something, I don't know. It's basic. She could be nice to her person that she's with, but sometimes she gets out of hand with other people, and she's trying to figure out why, and she's trying to work on that.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to figure out what it is, and Because I can look anything up and I can do some weird diagnostic crap. Okay, ready for the next question? As odd as it is? Okay, do you agree where the LGBT community is headed currently?
I mean,
Or do you know do you even know where it's headed right now?
No.
Okay, right now, they're going for, what they're considering, this is going to sound completely stupid, but in certain parts of the country, they're trying for it. Marriage equality.
Basically meaning women can marry a woman.
Well, that's already legal. They can't actually. Nobody. None of the people. No one in the 50 states can deny you from getting married in a courthouse or a federal building. They cannot deny you the right. But for some reason, there's still this pantomimic, duplicitous bullshit theory that somehow you can't get married in certain places because of whatever.
I've heard about that. I heard it was even here in the United States that women and women couldn't marry each other, or man can. We finally got the right to do that.
The Supreme Court through the passed gay marriage as of 2015. I know because the day it passed happens to be me and my wife's anniversary. Happened on our first year anniversary.
2015. I thought it was like after that.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. My stepdad told me, "Oh, it just got legalized."
No, if you go up and look at all the records, June 27th, 2015, fuckloads of gay marriages were held. Gay, lesbian, whatever. Those marriages took place en masse on my first year anniversary. That's why me and my wife were like, well, shit. We were looking forward to having a nice time, and then all of a sudden, a buttload of people have their anniversary the same day just for that one thing. It's like, you guys couldn't have moved it back one day? Because we got married before gay marriage, and we were already advocates. I've already been an advocate for 15 years, something like that. Which is why when my daughter was afraid to come out to me about her sexuality, it's like,
well, I mean,
what the hell is wrong with you, child?
So, I'm not saying all advocates are like this, but I mean, my mom's calling herself an ally or whatever, basically trying to support. But some people, they say they support it, and then they go back and bash it. Like, my parents have done that before.
Yeah, I totally get that. Now, would you like to hear what my usual stance is?
Sure.
I know you're nervous as shit about hearing that one.
It's okay.
Now, the big thing is like with my daughter being not straight, her gayness, if you will, because right now she's dating another chick. She's going out with yet another chick, and this chick actually seems to bring out the best in her. I've told her several times, I may not understand why you are, but my job is to love who you are. Mm-hmm. As long as you're not going down this railroad train wreck path, I can keep following you and backing you up and being your dad, your father, all those great roles without me judging you. I will question you about things, because I love to question. It's fun. But it's not like I'm inherently throwing everybody else in the same basket and saying, fuck all of you. I'm asking questions. That's like when I started doing this LGBT interview phase. A lot of people got worried. I've literally had like more than a dozen people ask for interviews. And what I keep telling them is we have to make time, because if I don't have guests, I can't come to you. So obviously, if I'm the one doing the interview, you're the one wanting to be interviewed. You
gotta come to me.
Either if I come to the person who's being interviewed, then I have to schedule out what that is, because I don't have eternal gas money. And everybody lives clear the hell away from me, even though I live in a cheap ass part of town. Like, rent is insanely cheap for a 2-bedroom where I live. So now, with LGBT and the you've heard about all sorts of trans deaths in the past few years, I'm sure.
Mostly transgender. I dated somebody who thought they were a girl, and then all of a sudden, I feel like I'm a male. And I was dating them. They're like, if I ever transition to a male, would you care? And I'm like, no, well, I love them, so of course I'd be like, no, oh, I don't mind it. She goes, well, I know you're a lesbian. I'm like, well, just because you're transitioning, I fell in love with you, not. That was when I was questioning my sexuality, like back then.
That tends to do that. That's why when you're dating, if a chick's dating a guy and the guy's like, well, I feel like a woman. I feel like I need to change this.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if it comes from out of the blue and the guy's been wrestling with it for a while, typically that's when it doesn't matter if it's male or female. It challenges the other one's sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
It challenges their head because, like, okay, is this going to make me gay or whatever? It's a real conundrum.
Like the girl that I'm dating now, she could all of a sudden be like, "Oh, I want to be a male," and I'd be still in love with her, and I don't want to leave, and I love her for herself. People would be judging me for staying with her. You know what I'm saying? Because they're identifying as trans or something like that. They'll be judging me too because, you know, one minute I was lesbian, next minute, you know, they're transitioning. Well, does that make me straight? Does that make me bi? It's just like...
Well,
I just go with it.
It inherently is going to make you question your sexuality at some level, at some point. But self-discovery is ultimately a really long road.
That's why I'm trying to say that I'm basically with the person for themselves, but I'm not really attracted. I don't know how to explain this. So I'm not attracted to a cis male, if that makes any sense. I'm not attracted to a cis male. I don't know how to explain
I still have to laugh at the whole cis thing. Would you like to know why really quickly?
I heard your other thing, but I call it cis because that's what people in the community call it. Like trans men.
Actually, a trans woman is the one who started the cis sexual thing.
I know, but I've heard it in the community. Like all of a sudden somebody.
I know. It caught on like gangbusters. Apparently, it was used in 2004 and it's caught on like wildfire. Well, cis. You realize cis means the same thing as trans.
I did not.
Yeah, if you actually look at it. I had to look that up too because I caught on to that and I looked it up. Cis means transition.
Well, I don't know exactly what it's called. If you were actually born a male, I'm not attracted to you. Sorry.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I'm just clarifying. I'm just explaining to you what the whole cis thing is. That's what makes the cis thing funny as shit because cis and trans, without making crap up like the trans woman did in her conference, they mean the exact same thing. Transition from one thing to another. So that's what really irritated me about the whole cis thing, and that was a year and a half ago when I did the podcast about that. So, yeah. It's not the fact that we don't... saying straight white male isn't going to hurt my feelings. I was born a guy. I'm still a guy.
I think doctors use that term too.
What, cis?
Uh-huh.
Never heard of it from a doctor.
I've heard of it from a doctor.
Then again, I don't go to doctors all that much. The last time I went to a doctor, I was weighed on by some really hot nurse. And yeah, she apparently she needed to give me a hernia test. I had to tell them, no, get me a guy. Why not? Because if you give me a hernia test, you're going to have something in your face. She was that hot to me. Like instant boner material. Okay, now, do you feel that... now, with going back to the trans deaths, a lot of them are trans women of color, black trans people, for me. This is happening a lot in the South. Do you feel that it's fair for the southern part of the United States to have their own set of rules in social justice?
I don't even know what that means.
Do you feel it's okay for southerners who want things to remain the way they have, you know, traditional family roles and all that crap, do you think it's okay for them to impugn their opinions upon other people?
No.
With physical violence?
No. Nothing really should be violent. Like the riots and everything, I think it's ridiculous. Like it could be just resolved by talking.
Yeah, it could. Like I said, I didn't like the riots last year any more than I liked the riot.
And they targeted stupid things too. Like they targeted stores and stuff instead of
stores, police stations. They like, where was it? In I forget where the hell it was, but they literally caught a.
It was around here, too.
Oh, it's not near as bad here though.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad here, but it was bad.
Our police chief Gordon Ramsay was the one dealing with the citizens.
Was it San Francisco where it happened, or somewhere? It was a big state. I know that because it might have been Florida.
I don't know. All I know is I saw a clip of them literally starting a fire at a police station, burning it to the ground, and then saying, "This is justice."
That's not justice.
That's not justice.
That's causing war.
That's literally declaring war on
Everybody.
officers that are trying to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
Blowing their windows out and openly targeting officers is not how you go about with a peaceful resolution. That's a bunch of angry, poor people deciding to take out their aggressions on people who are trying to enforce the laws. I know that's weird, but yeah, for me, I was listening to all these deaths about trans women of color, black trans people, and the one thing, only in 2 cases, and I actually did the backup on this, in 2 of the cases, the trans female passed herself off as actually being a natural born female, and apparently the guy, when he was questioned, said that he was looking to find somebody he could settle down with and have kids with biologically. The fact that this cunt, if you will, I know it's a really dirty word, but if this dumb bitch pulled herself off as a female who could have kids, he doesn't feel bad about it because he was in a relationship. He was trying to get in a relationship where he could have kids and all that, and this person passed themselves off as a woman when they are not. I mean, do you feel violence is warranted on that? I mean, obviously, probably not.
No.
But do you feel it's wrong for that for those trans people who do that, for them to get their head examined, or?
I feel like just because, okay, you need to at least tell them that you transitioned, because that's not right for the other person. Like, that's basically lying about basically, trust is in a relationship, and if you can't keep that trust or keep the truth, I mean, you can't just lie to somebody. That's like me saying if I was a male at first and said, or if I was a female at first and I turned into a guy. If a woman wanted to have kids and I was transitioned to a guy, I can't just say, oh, I was born a male. No, because you don't have the sperm to have the kids. I mean, they can't transplant sperm in you. They can put a dick there, but they can't, transition the sperm. I mean, they're trying to make it that way, but they can't. There's no way. I don't think there's a way they could do that. Because... My
niece made me research female sperm, so... There's some weird shit coming up in the next few years.
I mean, I heard somebody saying that they could take bone marrow and turn it into sperm for women to have kids with another woman, which I don't understand how that could happen.
I will have to look it up and send it to Robert, that way you can read the articles. I actually had to look that up because my niece, who's probably watching this when it's uploaded. Yeah, shout out to you, Josie. But yeah, she mentioned something about female sperm. I had to look it up, so I can fill you in on some of that.
I mean, my girlfriend said that if we're wanting to have kids, she'll gladly have my kid. But I'm just like, how is that possible with me and you? And she's just like, it can happen. I'm like, yeah, if you get a sperm donor from somebody, like a sperm bank or something, women can't have with kids. I mean,
like I said, I'll send you an article or two that I found after searching for what my niece told me about. You'll find it very fascinating. It might be expensive, but it is fascinating.
So it can happen.
In a manner of speaking, like I said, you'll have to read the article to understand what I'm talking about. Because I'm trying to remember from 2 weeks ago, and I've done so much research.
But tell me this: has it actually worked?
Yes. What she told me about has actually worked under laboratory conditions, but still, it worked. Like I said, you'll have to read it to get it. Me, I didn't understand it.
I'm worried. If they have a kid, will it even be? I don't know how to explain it. mentally okay, physically okay, you know.
Unless you unless you fuck up a genome, everything should be normal.
Unless you fuck up with me.
And that's, a genome is so damn.
What is this,
tiny.
Jurassic Park with lesbians? What is this?
Or gay men.
Or gay men.
Or trans women, you know. Okay.
What's next? Gonna take dinosaurs?
I don't know. I'm not the head of Jurassic Park. All right. Next question coming up. What is your view on traditional family and traditional family values?
What does that even mean?
Traditional family,
Big
man
words,
and woman.
don't know.
It means man and woman raising children.
I mean, it's both okay.
And traditional family values is man and woman only have sex with each other, and the kids come out straight and old school shit. I mean, what's your view on?
I mean, that's the way things happened back then, but this is like way after that. Like, we're in new age now.
So, can I assume then reasonably that?
I mean, yes,
life has gone from Leave It to Beaver, which I'm assuming you've seen that show, or Ozzie and Harriet, to Modern Family, where you've got two gay uncles who adopted an Asian girl.
Yes.
I mean, do you agree? Are you happy with that leap in television and American culture?
Yeah, I am.
No. Why?
Because it gives us a little hope, you know, that the society is actually trying to consider us equal. Because, I don't know, that's the main thing in the U.S. is television. People are really putting their eyes on that.
Yeah, I know. I've heard endless comments about Orange is the New Black, and
I've seen that only once. I haven't finished the thing, but I've seen some of it.
Or even the resurgence of the L Word, which my wife hasn't made me download, so she can watch that again. So she can.
I've never heard of that. I've heard of Orange is the New Black. That's the only thing I've heard of. And there's a cheerleader one. It's like, I'm a cheerleader. And this is about this girl that comes out. Well, she doesn't know she's a lesbian until her friends point out to her what she's been looking at and everything. Then her parents put her in a concentration camp with a lot of people trying to. It was an illness. Camp? Like, it was like they were sick.
Conversion camp.
Yeah, basically they were acting like they were sick and everything. It's like, you got it. You got the first step to recovery is you got to admit that you were gay or lesbian. And at first she didn't think she was. She thought she was just straight and everything. Okay. You'll have to look it up. It's on YouTube. It's called I Am a Cheerleader, and it's about this girl finding out she's lesbian and having to go to a camp and then meeting a girl and actually falling in love with her, and it's actually really interesting.
I have no doubt.
Very interesting. To be honest, I didn't even know that kind of movie existed. And at first when I'm like, how could you not know what you like? Like, because she had this boyfriend and she didn't like kissing him at all. Like, when they kissed, she was just like, and everything else. But she still called herself straight.
Straight in theology, I'm guessing?
Yeah. But yeah, it's called I Am a Cheerleader. If you want to, you could write that down. And it's I'll probably have one of my other viewers remind me of what it is. They probably already seen it and they'll break it down for me. But no, I would watch it, but I have like 15 movies at home. That's like my favorite movie to watch. Just to get up and burned. I was watching it, and my stepdad comes in. He goes, "What are you watching? This doesn't make sense to me." I'm like, it's called I Am a Cheerleader. Trust me, I didn't recognize it at first until I watched it like 5 times. Then I finally got the concept of what it was. Okay, well,
to be honest, your dad doesn't catch on to a lot of things quickly. I know, because I'm the one who has to explain it to him.
Yeah, when I first came out to him, to be honest, I shouldn't have came out to him at first, but I felt like he would be more accepting since, he wasn't really in the Christian base. Like, he was, like, in the middle between.
He wasn't in the fishbowl of Christianity, so to speak.
Yes.
He was more kind of like looking outside from the outside into it.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
And then he's just like, "How are you lesbian?" I'm just like,
"How are you straight?" I've actually been asked that of how I'm straight. Is like, then I went through the entire. I actually bothered to do the explanation. Well, like your response to how do you know you're not gay if you don't suck a dick. I'm like, that's the way he asked that. The way he asked that, and then your answer back to it. It was like, dude, you walked straight the hell into that garden rake. Asking how you are lesbian, that doesn't make any sense. It's like...
Well, I mean, people still do ask that. Even the people in the communities. There's some bisexual girls. I'm not saying everybody, all the bisexual girls do this, but I dated a bisexual chick who literally was like, how are you lesbian if you never had sex with a guy? It's the most amazing thing. I'm just like, that's to you. You are bisexual. I'm lesbian.
From my point of view, if you're in that umbrella, the LGBT umbrella, I think it's a valid question to ask. But that doesn't mean the answer has to be firm. I feel that answer needs to be
and she was also,
fluid and bendable.
When I was with her, she was also, oh, you're going to have sex with a guy once. She was going to make me. And me and her are no longer together. That was like the recent.
Obviously.
That was the recent. He told you who she was, probably. It was a poly relationship.
I haven't asked. If it was the
it was the poly relationship one.
Was that the one who threatened me, claiming she was crazy? Yeah, hot body, dumb as a tin can. Her body was like a 10 on the hotness scale, but her brain, she's like, well, I will have somebody come and take you out, and I'll help them.
Yep.
You don't know who you're talking to. I have knives, and I don't make noise. But yeah, she's
still trying to get me back, too.
She honestly told me that she would get some friends of hers, and they would all come down, and they would do horrible things to me. It's like, I have knives. I don't make noise. And I have dogs. The dogs will bark, and then the dogs will go silent, and my 95-pound dog, if it lands on anything, falls down and stays there. And then I have machetes and other knives. So yeah, you could be literally my dog's dinner. But yeah.
I don't even know what I saw on her. She had a mask on for the longest time. I didn't even know she was in a poly relationship until I got up there.
You probably saw her body.
No, she didn't show me. Me and her video chat and everything. I'm not gonna lie. I'm attracted to a woman's body, but I'm also attracted to their
personality.
Yes, their personality. I am mostly attracted to the personality. It doesn't matter what the person looks like to me. It's the personality and heart that matters. And she wore a mask for at least a few months before I went up there, and I found out she was in a poly relationship. That was a big smack in the face, because usually when I date somebody, it's about me and them, not me and who.
Not you and them and them?
Yes.
Yes, I know. I get an incredible amount of flack for my own lifestyle. But then again, I have to remember, it's my life, not theirs.
Yeah, she keeps bringing up the cause.
I mean, I don't mind it when people question what I do with my lifestyle. But at the same time, they also got to realize that when people are like, well, this isn't possible. No, it's not possible for you.
I mean, I wouldn't, to be honest, I feel like it would have worked, but to be honest, don't take me this the wrong way.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was in this relationship. Tell me if you guys don't think this is poly or not. She's dating this chick, right? Who is saying they're transgender, but they won't even go through the transition.
Yeah.
Tell me if you think this is poly. I get up there, it was going great and everything, and then all of a sudden the other one gets jealous. She starts, she wouldn't even kiss me. She wouldn't kiss me, she wouldn't cuddle me, she wouldn't show me the love that she was showing the other one. Basically, she was calling me by my name, not calling me babe or anything like that. And she was calling the other one that. She was calling them love.
Those are red flags right there.
Yes, and they would go out on dates and things like that, and the only time she would show me affection is in the bed setting. That's the only way she would. And
well, see, that's not a relationship.
I know. That's when I started saying, this girl doesn't really love me, and I wanted to get out of there. But then whenever she kicked me out, she wanted me to come back, and of course I didn't want to be in the homeless shelter, so I came back. So I was in the predicament of, if I don't be with her,
now,
I'm out.
The other chick was the older chick that she ended up getting with?
Yeah, I'm not going to say names, but I will say
their
ages.
I'm not saying names. I'm just saying the older chick.
Yeah, the older chick who was 31 31 or 32 or 33. I forgot how old she was. I could care less because I wasn't.
You weren't the one sleeping with her, so.
Well, actually, at first it was all three of us, but I didn't feel nothing for her, so we stopped it. It was just it was a line.
Well, would you remember the name of a one-night stand?
Mm-hmm. And me and her basically started fighting for her affection, but the person that we were fighting over.
Now, see, this is an example of a toxic
poly relationship.
Not even poly, a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Straight the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
If they're doing all this stuff together, and then you're only third wheeling until she feels like having a crack at you in bed, that's a toxic relationship.
She waits until the person goes to work, and then okay, I have split personality disorder. So does she, but she does it like this. Whenever the person's gone, she acts like somebody else, and she wants me to.
Well, that's more or less just two-faced. I'm not sure about split personality or anything like that, but it sounds like she's.
I call it split personality because one minute I'm angry, and the next minute I'm not. I call it that. It's a word that I use for me to understand.
So it's self-terminology.
Yes.
That's okay.
And
I come up with terminology for crap. I've made words up that stick. I've made a word up on my podcast.
I even name
I
even name them whenever it comes out so I can warn somebody. Like I'm about to say, like if I say like Enchantress is coming out, they're gonna be like, oh, she's about to get mad or something like that. I warn them before I go.
Yet another Marvel it's DC reference right there.
Yeah.
I had to throw that out for my fans who were into that.
Yes. Enchantress was my favorite character, so I decided to name my anger after.
For me, the only part of the Suicide Squad that I thought was dumber than hell was them getting a supermodel to play the bad person, and then having her do a boogaloo dance while she's at the Enchantress. Unless you're going to strip off your clothes, don't shake your hips for 5 minutes. Okay, now, getting into another weird subject.
But yeah, we're no longer together, and I just thought, and this is another thing, if you're in a poly relationship, I was feeling lonely in the relationship, and, they were dating other people.
Understandably.
They would not let me date anybody else. I was stuck.
At that point, you're not in a poly relationship, you're in a closed-ended relationship with somebody who's open-ended. Who's in an open-ended relationship on their side, and if they don't allow you to do anything else, then it's no longer a relationship, it's just toxicity.
And she's been trying to get me back, too, because her and her so-called person has been fighting a lot. She always comes to me whenever they fight. That's also... I kept them together because whenever they fought, both of them come to me by themselves because they don't know how to talk to each other. They would literally come to me, tell me their problems. I would tell the other person.
It sounds like they need to figure out how to communicate. Let me check the timer on this damn thing. Hold on a second. We'll get this going again.
Relationships at all, but...
Oh, okay. We're recording again. Literally, I just had to press the button.
I'm sorry to say, but if your relationship's like that, it's not a poly relationship. If you're calling yourself poly, that is not poly.
Oh, there's a bunch of stigma I have to adjust to on that one. I have to educate people all the time. We're like, well, I don't understand it. Then I explain to them, we're like, why don't people believe? Because most people are in it for the sex. They're not in it for the relationships.
I wanted a relationship with her. I fell in love with her. She said she loved me and everything else, and she's still saying she does, but yet she didn't stop me from walking out the door.
Didn't she end up, pregnant quite a while back?
She ended up pregnant and lost the kid. She had a miscarriage. She's not able to conceive. I'm not saying I don't know if I'm able to conceive, but I know I'm able to conceive because there's no problems with me.
You won't know that until you actually try to have a baby.
But
you don't know until you try or until your ability to have children is taken.
But they know I'm physically healthy, so they think... They were actually trying to get me to have their kid. Like, she's like, could you have
Why couldn't a 31-year-old have a kid?
Tilted cervix.
And? I've had 4 chicks that I used to have relations with back in the day. So all of them have tilted uteruses.
Excuse, right?
And they had tilted uteruses, and one of them has 1 kid, the other 3 have 4 kids.
So she's able to have kids. She's just not wanting to have a kid.
Usually the people who say they've got a tilted uterus usually are just waiting for somebody to bang them hard enough in the right position to get past that. When people say they're infertile or that they've got a tilted uterus, I typically don't buy it because my older sister's first husband, I'm infertile. I can't have kids. Didn't have any kids yet. Now, he has like 6 or 7 fucking kids from a guy who's infertile. No. He just said that to get women to sleep with him. He didn't want to wear a condom. He tells them he's infertile. They're like, okay, whatever. And next thing you know, not them. But he's also a pathological liar and a bunch of other crap. And wow.
I mean, I don't want to keep saying on this relationship status, but there's also manipulation that was involved.
Yeah, that contributes to the toxicity of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And as everybody who listens to this channel or watches it knows, we do not promote toxicity of that kind on this podcast. We're anti-toxicity.
I was in a lot of toxic relationships. I'm basically the type of person, I'm able to be in a relationship, but the people that I be with are not. And I think I finally found somebody who can actually meet that, but I don't know for sure yet.
You're not going to know until a few months down the road. That's why, like, when my daughter meets somebody, and then she tells me, you got a friend? You got a friend? No, I'm not going to friend. She seems to have a really cool girlfriend now, but in a few months, if she's still with her, I will gladly friend her girlfriend. And she will get the Deadpool treatment from me. Full of the quips, gaffes, and fucking unending sexual innuendo
my mom's
jokes.
friends with my girlfriend on Kick to talk to her. My girlfriend has no other social media because of her ex. She's done with social media. All she has is Kick and her phone number.
Well, there are ways around. There are ways to get back involved in social media.
She's afraid to because the ex she had was very abusive. Like I said, not saying names, but it was very abusive.
We don't have to mention names. We just generalities.
She has 2 kids, boys, and yeah, it was just bad.
Now, with these, much like your dad asked you on his podcast, I'm not exactly sure the wording is going to be the same, but how do you feel about having a significant other who already has 2 children?
I'm fine with it. I'm the oldest in my family, and I've been around kids. I even babysitted a few.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that there's going to be a lot of financial, for their well-being, taking care of themselves and things like that. I'm willing to go that extra mile and help her in any way I can. I'm trying to get myself together right now so I can. Like right now I'm staying with them until I'm able to, get out there and get my own place. And my mom said I'm willing to stay here. I'm allowed to stay here for as long as I need to. My stepdad's trying to help. My mom, she's not really helping because she wants me to live with her for the rest of my life, which I don't. Every mom has that. They want at least one of their kids to stay with them. I don't know why it is.
In my family, we're really not like that. It's like, you're 18, get up off your ass and be gone all day working.
But my mom's also...
Oh, I understand.
You know my mom.
I understand why your mom does that. I get it. But that's not most women. A lot of women tend to segregate themselves into one class or another. No, all mothers tend to, at some point, want to have peace. And with kids growing up, women start nesting. They become empty nesters. They have to have shit to fill their spaces in with. But, and this is no judgment on my part at all. I'm not trying to judge you. I'm merely asking you the question. Do you think you're capable of parenting 2 children?
I think I am. Some people don't think I am because I can't keep a relationship, but they don't know what I've been through in those relationships, who was more mature than the other one. I kept my cool throughout the entire thing. I gave them multiple chances to change. Mm-hmm. I had this one chick that I was engaged to that I literally broke the distance with to go see in Illinois. Mm-hmm. And I stayed with them for a little bit, and of course her dad didn't like me because I was not like him. I was not, a male or having my own job
yet. You didn't have a penis and you weren't employed.
Yes.
To put it just bluntly.
Yeah, but he saw me as lazy because I was up in her room a lot. But what he didn't know, I did things while he was gone on his truck jobs. I didn't want to come near him because I was scared of him. So whenever he was home, I was upstairs.
Yeah.
He's the type of dad that had like a gun where he could reach it.
Yeah.
And he stood about, I don't know, maybe taller than you. Maybe he had long hair, and he's one of those scary looking biker guys.
He sounded like a mix between a trucker and a biker.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stereotypical biker / trucker.
Uh-huh.
Long hair, really long beard for no damn reason whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just trying to look mean.
Yes. He called me lazy. I wouldn't take showers and things like that. I did all that while he was gone. But his daughter didn't stick up for me. She agreed with her dad.
Well, from what I read on her profile, if I'm remembering this correctly, she was somewhere I recall somebody mentioning the fact that she was autistic. And that she basically couldn't function in certain ways. And that might have contributed to the whole situation. The negativity of it anyway.
Well, I mean, she wasn't fully. She's a minor, like the minor of that. Like she's not fully that, but she has her way. Her own way of thinking. She has that, but she depends. Well, she doesn't depend on her family. She cares about what her family thinks.
Okay.
Which everybody does.
To a certain extent, yeah.
To an extent, but she.
Some of us a lot more than others.
She believed her parents over her person that she loved.
Or the person she thought she loved.
Yes.
Because it sounded like she was a little confused on what she should be listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you ready for the next question?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably thinking, oh shit, what are we going to talk about now? How do you respond to critics of your lifestyle?
Critics. I haven't had any critics. Besides, unless you mean criticizing.
People who are against your lifestyle.
I'm getting fewer and fewer of those people now, since I've been out this long. But when I first came out, it was my family members. Most of them. My own uncle, he's like, as soon as I posted a picture of me and my first girlfriend on my Facebook, really? Mm-hmm. This is who you are? This is what you are? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well then, bye. He literally blocked me right then and there. Didn't even give me a chance. Interesting,
isn't it?
Didn't even give me a chance to even explain how I felt. Mm-hmm. He just automatically up and blocked. And I haven't heard from him since I came out. I mean, I know he got remarried and things like that, but I don't know. I don't talk to him at all. He probably doesn't even know I still exist. He probably thinks I died or something. He could care less. And I thought my actual father was going to be the same way when I came out to him. He's actually more accepting than my mom was. And that was very weird. Because I thought the man would be like...
You thought you were in for a huge culture shock?
Mm-hmm. I thought my mom would be more accepting. Nope. My mom wasn't accepting. My father was. And he still is, but he has his own problems too. Like, he's homeless himself. He's just traveling around in a vehicle, going from house to house to house. But he's all, I'm sorry, Dad, if you ever see this, but he turned into a man whore. He literally sleeps with any girl.
Some guys do that.
I never thought my dad would do that, but he used to be a very hardcore Christian playing the guitar at church to a man whore. That...
Some people are doomed to pay a penance for their sins. Okay, are you ready for the next question now? Yeah, these typically don't get easier.
I'm trying.
Okay, with your generation's increased social media dependency growing, and the rise of your generation's numbers identifying as LGBT, does it concern you that more and more of your generation seem to be gender confused? And yes, I can explain that if you want me to explain it. Most of Generation Z, which is the generation you belong to, I forget the exact numbers, but somewhere around 65% of your entire generational cohort
Is either
claims
non-binary or
they identify as LGBT somewhere in that umbrella. Now, does this happen to happen to concern you, given the regularity of seeing now gay characters and lesbian characters and bi and trans characters?
I mean,
in
I
media?
get crap. I got called gender confused for being called a non-binary lesbian at one point. I didn't know how to say it. That's why I called myself non-binary. Now I'm hearing that there's a thing called lesbian in bi, basically meaning you don't care what you're called, but you're attracted to just women. That's the thing now. Somebody's calling themselves. One of my new friends that I met on Kick, who is LGBT. He's gay. He's bisexual. He's a gay and bi. Basically, he goes by both, but he's attracted to both too. But he goes by either one of those things. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm a lesbian, but I don't care if I'm called a man. I don't know how. Like, I get confused for a man a lot, so I just don't care if they call me a man.
Okay.
And I don't want to be confused, like, saying I'm gender confused. No, I know I'm a female. I just don't care what people call me. I really don't. Like, there's this young lady came up to me and was like, "Sir, can you help me with something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like that happens to a lot of lesbians. Like, I just don't care what I'm called. And that's what I'm trying to explain to him, that I don't care what I'm called, but I'm lesbian. I don't like men. And some people are just like, how can you identify as that if you're a lesbian? A lesbian's two girls. If you call yourself a guy, which I'm not calling myself a guy, I'm just saying I don't care what you call me. Like, I don't know how to explain that to anybody. People are just like...
Well, from what I'm observing, it's just straight butch lesbianism.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, like, I have not just referred to one person as gender confused. I've done it multiple times, but I do it for a specific reason. The terminologies are really what irritate the hell out of me. Like, when at one point I was talking with another LGBT person, and they combined two terms which are completely contradictory, and refer to themselves by that label. It's like, you realize that's not actually a thing. It's non-existent. Those cancel each other out. No, they don't. Look it up. And then apparently they went to one of their friends and got told by one of their friends that label doesn't exist. It's nonsensical. It doesn't fit anything. So if you have lesbianic tendencies and people call you a guy all the time, I would see you as a butch lesbian. The simplest thing is usually the easiest one.
I know, but sometimes when people are like, "So what are your pronouns?" I'm just like, this is why people get pissed. I say she, they, and they're like, "That makes no sense." I'm like, I don't care what people call me. I'm a female.
I've heard dumber pronouns.
I literally call myself she, they, and it's because I'm an actual female, so she, but I don't care what people call me, so I said they. So that's my pronoun,
well,
she, they.
It's like the people who get that, what's that, Z or ZA or whatever weird ass pronouns. Like, that's my pronoun. You're a dude with a beard and you're in full drag. Makes you a drag king. Well, no, that's not my pronoun. Your pronoun makes no goddamn sense.
I mean, I dress like a drag prince sometimes.
Or you go like, what's the term, drag king?
I call myself a drag prince because, I don't know, I was told you could be a drag prince, drag king, drag whatever, and I decided to call myself a drag prince because, you know...
In some places there is a hierarchy, I get that.
Yes.
But when you're just flat out somebody who performs as a man, you're considered a drag king as opposed to a man dressing up as a female, drag queen.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
So yeah, I get that whole thing. I've done my fair amount of research.
Let's just say the poly relationship I was in, king, queen, I was a prince. That's another red flag I should have. Basically, they're calling me their kid.
Yeah.
Like, why? I should have seen that coming. I should have, as soon as they started calling me that, I should have been red flag.
The advice I usually give to young people, my daughter included, and my niece, when they get into relationships and they want advice, I usually tell them, look out for red flags and toxic shit.
Sometimes I can't pick it out. Sometimes
I don't care if it
time.
takes. It can take months to point at it, see if a person's really toxic because they play the role so well when it starts out. After a while, they start rubbing off and they don't give a shit about hiding their toxic nature. That's why I advocate for paying attention. I know relationships feel good in the beginning. I know I love that feeling. But at the same time, you also have to keep your head on your shoulders. You have to be an adult. And with you being with another woman who has 2 kids,
we've been together for a month.
You have to keep your eye out on toxicity on her part
and the kids.
And you have to watch out for toxicity from yourself. You have to display healthy human signals.
Which
I know it's a really weird dichotomy because some people are like, well, how do you know toxic? If it's bad, and most people would tell you not to get into it, it's probably toxic.
Yeah, a lot of people told me to leave, and I didn't.
Yeah, well, it's like when your ex told me she was going to get some people together and come get me. It's like, no, you'll all be dead. Then she chimed up one more time and then disappeared and then blocked me. It's like, I'm not the one threatening people. All I got to do is turn your text over to Facebook or the cops.
She's already in trouble with the authorities. She has a court date soon because she called a black man the N-word.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And he got it on recording, and she threatened his life and everything. She goes, I was just kidding. I'm like, you don't joke about that. You don't kid about
that in front of the black people you're saying it to. In fact, I would suggest not using that word unless you're referring to a severely ignorant person. Usually when I use the N-word, it's to somebody who's violently, irrevocably ignorant.
I really think she was a narcissist.
She might have been, but judging from her profile pics and everything, most guys weren't going to care if she was a narcissist. They would just care about dipping into it.
She was also an escort.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yep.
Okay, ready for the next question now? As confusing as these questions are? Does it bother you that your generation and millennials fail to discriminate or discern the difference between sex and gender?
Sex is what's between your legs. Gender's up here. It's not that simple. It's not.
No, people of your generation and millennials are confusing the two and saying, well, okay, for instance, I watched a video and this chick who's got the classic lesbian dyke hairstyle of having a buzz cut, she has boobs the size of a watermelon, and I'm a man. Clearly, you are not a man. You identify as a guy? No, I don't think so. Get a boob reduction. Do some shit to change yourself to looking more...
Like wear a binder, even though that probably wouldn't work.
As big as her. She was a chubby chick, but she was massively well endowed on top. But she's claiming to be a guy. It's like, well, don't refer to me as a she. I'm a he. No, you are not. That discernment of claiming to be I don't care if you prefer to think of yourself as a man. More power to you. But if you clearly aren't going through a transitionary phase, and you're not even attempting to look the heteronormative part of a male, then why the hell are you calling yourselves a male? I mean, how do you feel about that whole discernment? Because it's not just gender bending, because gender bending is a psychological argument, but trying to confuse, well, I'm a man. Even though I've got boobs and a vagina, I'm a guy. That kind of discernment doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you.
No, but I just have respect for people. I'm the type of person, I don't really judge. If they identify as that, then, well, so be it. But you're a female sexually. If you're going to identify as a man...
At least attempt to look like one?
That's all I gotta say.
And no, I'm not. And everybody already knows I'm not trying to trounce one side or the other. I'm literally just trying to make clear.
I literally had somebody call me a fake lesbian because of, me calling myself she/they. And
I hadn't even heard. I don't even know what that term means.
Fake lesbian. Basically,
I've never heard that term, so...
I was called that, and I'm just like, why are you calling me this? She goes, well, for one thing, you don't know for sure if you're a lesbian because you never had sex with a man. I'm just like, there's a reason why I didn't have sex with a man. I'm not attracted to a man.
Yeah, see, that's with your interview with your dad, that's the part that really got me. It's like, when you said that, I was like, yep, I'm doing the interview, I just gotta write out the questions, because during that one part, you became so passionate, and your voice... overran his completely. You owned that interview at that point. It's like, okay, Robert, sit down and shut up. I'm talking. That's the end of it. That's what got me into doing the interview. Is because of the passion on that question and your response to it. But
a lot of people's been coming at me with that. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I'm just like, there's a lot of people out there who think that. I'm probably not the only one who's been called a fake lesbian. Like, there's some people out there who was like, yeah, somebody's called me that too. I'm just like, okay, this goes out to the bisexual girls who think that a lesbian is a fake lesbian if they never had sex with a guy. Just because you like dick does not mean every girl does.
And to put it upon a straight plane, if people ask me why I'm not gay, I don't like dick. Never have liked dick. I'm not going to go touching some guy's dick to find out if I'm gay. I already know I'm not attracted to men sexually. Kind of anchors it down.
And for the men who think lesbians are just... thinks that they could turn them straight because they use strap-ons, it's not about the strap-on, it's about who's attached. Not... I don't know how to
Depends on what segment of the population. BDSMers, it's a whole different thing.
I know, but there's some guys out there who's like, how can you be a lesbian if you're using a strap-on? That's basically a form of dick. I'm like...
I used to live with a couple of lesbians. Well, we were all communally living, so to speak, and they would always use a 4-inch wooden dildo to get each other off. And yeah, they after a while, I had to tell them, you guys need to hide that. Why? Because I have 2 children in the house. If they come up asking me what your wooden dildo is, me and you are going to have words. When your kids are like 5 and 6, they don't need to be asking questions about your penis-shaped dildo when it's made of wood.
Also, there's kids out there who find them and stick it to their head and they're like, look, Mom, I'm a unicorn or something. And they
no, this one was on a keychain.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I never heard of those. Oh, my God.
We're talking back in 2009. That's how long ago this was. So it's been a minute.
I'm used to the stick people. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to know about your toys.
No, I'm just saying I never heard of that before. That's something I've never heard of.
Like, they were weird, and one of the chicks came from an Amish community or a Mennonite community, and apparently she was all for her ex before they broke up. She was all for getting her ex pregnant and having kids, while she didn't get pregnant at all. And she was the one by far with a better body that most guys would like to donate their sperm to. And since then they broke up. I think I've seen the significant other a couple times since then, and it's always with the same dumb lesbian chicks who are older than she is. They tend to have something wrong with their head. Okay, we've made it to the very last question. Let's see how much time we have. Oh, we've got a few minutes. Damn, this is gonna be a bitch to put on Anchor. YouTube, not so much. Anchor, they'll only supposedly allow you an hour and a half, and we're bordering on that. Last question. Do you have a message, an overall message for the world? And yes, you can go ahead and stare straight into the camera. This is your time to deliver a message.
Basically, LGBT is not going to go anywhere, so basically just cut the crap. Basically, get yourselves together. Judge yourself before you judge others. Like, judge or be judged yourself, basically. If you judge somebody, be judged yourself, because I don't know exactly how to put this into words. Basically, let people be themselves. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I bet you that there is not a person in this world that has not made a mistake in their life. If you have not ever made a mistake in your life, are you even human?
I would say that they were alien or the second coming of Jesus Christ, and if that's the case, we're all screwed.
Yeah, if you have no faults whatsoever or anything, you must be God.
If you made it through life without sinning, from the biblical standpoint, at least once in your life, number one, you're a robot, or number two, you're the second coming of Christ, and three, if you're the second coming of Christ, please stay in a hole for like the next 80 years. I want to see my kids and grandkids before they come and collect everybody, before the Christ rises up again.
And there's even people in the Bible Belt that still make mistakes and they still judge people. Like
pastors, religious organizations, churches, politicians.
You guys are not all holy all the time. I'm sorry, but you're not. You're not. I bet you there is some times where you guys want to have a little drink, or you guys want...
Drink and a little adult action go hand in hand.
Or listen to music that's not holy.
Yeah, the Gaither brothers. Oh my God, how exciting! To me, that's boring as
I'm sorry, but you guys are
dry.
The Bible is not all holy. You guys are, think before you speak. That's all I gotta say. Think before you speak.
Now, with that having been said, we are going to conclude the interview because number one, I have to check my messages to see if my wife chimed up, and number two, I'm out of questions, motherfuckers. And yeah, thank you for doing the interview. That would go to you. Thank you for doing the interview.
Thank you.
And if I'm pretty sure I'll probably get some responses to this one, if nothing else, about some batshit crazy stuff. But yeah, you guys have a great time, and I don't know what's going to be. I don't know if I'm doing an interview next or I'm doing a regular podcast yet. I don't know. I've got people volunteering for more interviews with the LGBT theme. I've got people volunteering for the autism sequence that I'm about to do. So yeah, I don't know what's coming up next, but you guys make suggestions, and if you guys are subscribed, yes, I will be taking those suggestions and turning them into actual podcasts. So say goodbye to the dog, say goodbye to her, say goodbye to me, and we are going to get out of here. Peace out.